Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Cynical Marketers. Thank you for joining us. We are at episode 51. We are at the end of the year. We're getting there. It's crazy. So it's end of year. So this week what we're going to do, we'll get right to it, is do we have any predictions for 2026? Marketing predictions, not just general, marketing predictions. So nada. I'll start with you. Do you have anything? What do you think is going to happen in the marketing world in 2026?
Oh, I don't know. I keep sitting on the fence over here with these things, Mike. Like I think about from the retention standpoint, I think 2026 may be the year that SMS takes precedence over email for the first time. It's been inching that way for the last couple of years. We've seen huge growth in the SMS channel. Across multitude of industries, different brands and everything. And there are some brands I worked with over the last couple of years where SMS has been better in terms of revenue driving and conversions. But I think it's going to become the norm. I think it's going to become a preferred retention channel over email. Especially for people that are willing to give you their phone number. I know we've talked on this podcast about how we don't do that. I think the moment people are willing to give you their phone number. So I think I have kind of things that I think will center around that, around the zero party data, management. I think some of those tools that talk about giving enhanced data for your customer are not really going to work anymore. I think customers are going to really lean into personalization on the brand side. I think brands are going to have to do a lot to make sure that they know the demographics of their customers, just because I think a lot of the stuff around cookies and how we track folks from website to email or the other way around is going to change. But I think this for sure, I feel 2026 will be the year that SMS takes the lead over email on the retention side.
That's a good one. So I can see that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these, like the data tracking will come into play with that, with email, because we already know open rates don't mean anything, right? Like that's not really a prediction for next year. Like you should not be looking at your open rates. They don't matter. They matter unless if you're not getting anything for opens. But there's so much of that fake reporting for opens, the fake, Apple opens and the fake Google opens that doesn't matter anymore. And because the ESPs, the Apples and the Googles of the world, Yahoo, all of them are centering so much on the cookie tracking and giving the option for customers not to be tracked and for their activity in their inboxes not to be tracked. I think that the brands are going to have to start relying on their own ways to collect demographic data and collect behavioral data. And I think that's why the switch is going to shift from email to SMS, because it's so much more straightforward, straightforward to track SMS. So that's one of my big ones. I thought maybe we would get there this year, but we didn't quite. Email is still a much stronger channel than SMS, but I think that will flip. What about you, Mike?
I agree.
What do you think?
I think, one of the reasons too, I'll blame AI because of cold outreach being powered by AI now, and all these companies that are out there and all these people talking about how they can send 10,000, 20,000 emails, that everybody's email inboxes are just getting inundated because of AI generated cold outreach. So that channel is being degraded, and people just are tuning out email more and more. Nobody tunes out their cell phone though. So
right.
I could see that happening. We'll get there. And I blame AI again for maybe making that final push. Plus all the data, and this too. It's so hard with email now to know really what's working, and unless you're just tracking all the way at the end, which everyone should be doing. Did you get any people on your website, and did you get any sales?
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Basics, but
okay. Yeah. SMS becomes our main retention. That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
One for me, and this is more, it's hopeful, but I'm seeing signs. So one for me next year is I think there's going to be a major shift in algorithms for all the platforms to move away from rage bait working. And That is the
Okay.
primary driver right now on social media, because everyone knows that engagement is the number one signal for just about every algorithm on every social platform. And the best way to get engagement is to post rage bait and get people fighting in your comments. And that is because the platforms don't measure what's really being said. They only see comment, 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 comment. They don't actually look at what's in the comments. They just see, oh, there's a lot of people commenting. This must be a good post.
Yeah.
But I think AI is going to change that, because I think platforms are actually going to start, because they can already, because we've seen this in summary, but they're going to start looking at actually the content of comments. And if you are just going for rage bait, I think they're going to start downgrading that, because I think just the users in general out there, we're all just kind of getting sick of it. And you see more and more comments happening where someone's like, oh, this is just a crappy rage bait post.
Yeah.
Which I recommend, if you're out there, to not do that, because you're still giving a comment and you're still giving that creator what they wanted. They don't care if you comment and call them an idiot. They want that. It doesn't hurt their feelings. It's not going to make them change their behavior.
Yep.
The only way to fix it is to actually not engage. But I know we want to tell people how stupid we think you are, but that's what they want. But I am hopeful next year that I think we're going to see a change in algorithms to reward true engagement and not just people posting something, because it's so easy to drive it with bots. And you see this on comments. You'll see a comment like someone will post a dance video, right, of a funny dance video. And then there'll be a comment post saying, Trump wishes he could dance like this.
Right.
Just to get 500 people to reply to that comment, whatever, I hate Trump, I love Trump, right? It's just there to cause the fight.
Yep.
To drive engagement.
drive
So you see that kind of stuff now. And I think the platforms are going to be working on it, because I think the age of rage that we're in right now, I'm hoping it's coming to an end. I'm hopeful. I want to predict it, because I'm hoping we can predict this, we can will this to happen, and we can get this change on social media, because I personally cannot stand the rage culture that we're in, where everybody's just mad about everything. And if you just want to post something, you just, and then you're happy to have people come in and fight in your comments. You're like, I did a good job. I got a big fight in my comments. You're like, oh, it doesn't do any good for any of us out there. So that's one of mine. I am more hopeful, but it's based on just kind of my feeling and years of experience on social media. And once you start seeing lots of those comments, I don't know. We'll see. I hope anyway. They can use AI for good and start actually measuring the comments. So that's one for me. You got another one?
That's a very good one. I think, I don't know if some of this is happening already, but I feel like all the retention platforms are going to lean heavier into AI. And that actually worries me, because, we've seen it on Attentive, we've seen it on Klaviyo to some extent, of AI predictions for segments and lists. So building your segmentation and relying heavily on AI. And I think there's some good in it. I think it's definitely something worth testing. But I think what makes me nervous is those tools expand. We're going to become a little bit of lazier on the retention marketing side. And so we're just going to use the AI tools to segment everything. And that makes me nervous. So I know from experience in working with Attentive this year, they have their AI Pro tool, which is the segmentation, their AI segmentation, and their AI send time optimization. And the segmentation has been interesting. Like, it adds or subtracts people that they think are likely to buy, which Klaviyo has said something similar, purchase predictability. And I just get nervous about this. I think it's going to become almost mainstream in 2026 that we're going to rely entirely on AI tools to pick our segments for sending emails and SMS. And that actually makes me nervous, Mike, because I think there should still be some strategy around, the behavioral things for the customer. Because I know, for example, when you add the AI functionality in Attentive and you're sending an email, it will be like, oh, we're adding 20 more thousand likely purchasers, right? But who are those people? When was the last time they bought? Were they added because they were on the website? There aren't really clear criteria on how the AI picks these. Like, there's a multitude of factors. Like, Attentive will send you a deck explaining how this works. But I think what makes me nervous for like, my side of the marketing industry, right? Like the retention side is that I think retention marketers are going to become lazy and they're just going to rely on these AI tools. And having to keep in mind that every single platform provider, Attentive, Klaviyo, Constant Contact, all of them, right? The big buzz is AI. So they're going to lean into it. But you still have to be strategic on how you're segmenting and make that make sense for your business and not just rely on an AI tool. And I think what we're going to see a shift between this year and next year is that that's going to become like wildly popular, that like all of the retention marketing is just going to be driven by AI segmentation. And I'm nervous and not like thrilled about it. Like I don't have positive vibes about it. Like we've seen, so for one of our clients, we've been utilizing some of these AI tools with Attentive, for example, and we've seen some growth. The problem is, how do I now isolate those additional segments or those things that were brought into the list as potential purchasers and monitor the behavior of just those people? Because they're different across each send. So I think that makes me a little bit nervous, but I have a feeling that retention is going to become a little lazier next year. And I don't think that we can really afford to be any lazier. Like, I think we need to be more personalized. But that is one thing that I think is going to be something that the platforms really push is the AI, the segmentation and send time optimization. And the STO, I don't have a problem with. That's been around for some time. And that's based on opens and clicks and just predictability of how someone like interacts with email or an SMS. I think those tools are fine. I think the segmentation makes me worried a little bit. But I think that's going to become like the number one way to segment customers next year. It's going to be AI. So if you're a consumer and you're getting random emails, it's probably because somehow you went into a segment that doesn't apply to you. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to track. And I don't know, I've been thinking about it a ton, Mike. I don't know like what a good way for someone to track this would be, right? Without doing some manual work, because the platforms will always want to hype up these tools and make you think that they're performing really well. Like, all of the platforms notorious for that. So I would say, I think some of the traditional segmentation should still apply. But I think we're definitely going to become way lazier on the retention side with all the AI stuff. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like Klaviyo, like you mentioned their name and then I just did. Yeah. So if you buy anything from anywhere in the next 7 days, if you go buy gas at the gas station, they're going to claim, they'll take attribution.
They'll take attribution for it. Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned Klaviyo. That's why you went and bought gas today. So we're going to notify Shell that was because of us, so Klaviyo loves to take every attribution they can.
Oh, all the attribution they can. Yeah.
I know this makes you nervous, but I'm a fan of the AI use in this way. I like AI for analysis and analytics. Right. I've been very publicly against it for content creation. And I think this is where then the retention specialists are then going to be able to stand out and stand apart. Is still the analysis, because like even if they do segment by AI, it's still going to take you and analyzing these things for performance to say like, that didn't work that great. Let's do this. And it's still going to be about the message you create. And you're going to stand out that way because the lazy ones will use AI for their segmentation and all of their creative and messaging. And so they're all going to sound the same and look the same and not do anything. So I like it, and I am hopeful for something like that to be useful. And even still on the retention side, it's not like business owners are going to, for us, if we do retention, you offer it as a service or this is your specialty. Your boss is still not going to do it. Yeah. Just because maybe they can, it's still not this, like, no, I don't do the email and text messaging around here. Like, you do it, so. All right. Yeah. But that's a good one. I can see that. Okay. My other one, I really just have two for this year that I think are biggies, but my other one is about AI. And I know everyone's talking about this bubble now. I have been on record pretty much all year. I have talked about it. Now there's some bigger people, way bigger than us, talking about it. So no one cares what I have to say, but I do think the bubble bursts next year. And especially for OpenAI.
Yeah.
For ChatGPT, I think that they're in trouble next year. Their CEO, Sam Altman, you see more people talking about this because this is one of the things I've said too, is like they burn money like it's just never going to end and it doesn't make any sense. So he's just acquiring people. And then I saw somebody talking that, he's just billions and billions and billions of dollars in losses because he thinks he's going to get to agentic, and the final boss of AI with all that money. And I don't think they're going to. And then they haven't innovated. I canceled my ChatGPT not long ago because I just think it's gotten dumber and dumber and worse. Others are continuing they keep their heads down and they're not out there in the media like Sam Altman is, and they're just working and improving. Claude's better. Google Gemini is better. There are a lot of other tools that are better than ChatGPT, but they've captured the consumer market because they've been the most public and known. But I think that comes crashing down for them next year because also the people who are giving him all that money, they have to have some results for it. There is no private equity firm, there is no venture capitalist out there who just hands money to somebody with no expectation of a return on that investment.
Oh, they're going to want to return.
And for anyone who's like, oh, ChatGPT said they're a nonprofit. Like, okay. Right.
Oh, gosh.
They've got to start making some money.
Yeah.
And not even just for their 50 billion, I think they're saying they're going to lose this year. They lost that last year too, 40 billion the year before. Ooh. I'm sure they're over 100 billion in losses. What level of profit do you have to get to and for how long to even get back to break even?
It's crazy, right? Like, they've been bleeding money, I feel like. So
and just over promised, and it's going to under-deliver. I don't see this AI panacea that everybody else seems to think can happen. There are some very good things that I love AI for, love it for. But it's not doing all this stuff that everyone said. And I'm old enough to remember, I always take it back to the, when we started customer service and they started the menu trees.
Yeah.
Press 1 for blah, blah, press 2. And everyone back then, that time when that was launched was the height of technology. And everyone's like, you can fire your receptionist. You can fire your customer service teams. You don't need this. And it didn't take long for people to start like screaming agent into the phone because it was so bad. And that's a lot of how this is too with AI customer service agents. People don't like it. Consumers do not like this stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the stuff that we were promised, I just don't see. Analysis, these are large language models. I think for analysis, and I do this, I have lots and lots of spreadsheets for tracking, so I use AI with what I'm doing too, but then I will guide it and say, hey, I've got this data for this client here. These are things that are important to me. These are kind of 4 metrics that we are always tracking. What do you see here? Can you do some statistical stuff for me? Because we had a client say like, I don't think this is working anymore. We should stop doing this and switch to this. And I'm like, I want to look at like the correlation of this. Like, tell me, like analyze this for me. And there's just so much that it's powerful for. And I love it for creating reports and things then. So I'm still guiding it and you get your initial stuff back. You're like, no, what are you doing? No. Redo this. No, let's not talk about this. This is the focus because it still comes from me.
Yeah.
But, so I think ChatGPT is in trouble next year.
I think that, you're right. I think that AI is a tool for efficiency, and generating reports and summaries and all of those things is really good. Creative, obviously not. And I think I agree with you on that ChatGPT being in trouble because it makes me nervous with all the, like we had a whole episode on this, the adult content that they're going to implement. Mm-hmm. All the lawsuits that are coming up against them for, people unaliving themselves. I don't know how else to say it so we don't get flagged.
Sorry, we have to do TikTok talk. You can't say words.
I think there's definitely a bubble there that is going to burst. I think to add to it too, Mike, interestingly, and I didn't get a chance to really deep dive into this, very high level, saw some posts on social media about either an executive order or just maybe even Trump just making a comment about regulating AI on a federal level and not allowing each state to have its own regulation for it. I think regulations are coming. I think, and again, we don't get in, like, not meaning to dive into the political side of this state versus federal, but I think there's some acknowledgement finally that regulations need to be set for these tools. Because there's been a lot of talk about AI, images and videos, and how, even from a legal standpoint, how are you going to, how can you verify if something is like an actual photo versus an AI generated photo? I mean, like, obviously there are some telltale signs, right? But there are ways to doctor photos or videos, with AI, that I think some regulation around that is going to start popping up.
Yeah, even if it's not in the US, that the EU will. EU just generally hates business.
And I actually think our government on the federal level is looking at regulations. I think that's why there's been that discussion. And like I said, I did, a very, very high level, saw some talk about it on social media, that Trump had made a statement that this is not up to the states, it's up to the federal government. And so I think, honestly, at this point, I don't even know if one would be better over the other, but there's definitely regulations that need to take place, and even if, like you said, if EU does it, fine. But I think we definitely need something, just because I think, especially around the use of AI and children, right? Like, and being able to generate images or videos of using likenesses of children, definitely should be regulated. So I think regulations are coming. I think in addition to ChatGPT possibly just, going out of business or rebranding, I think there's going to be regulations. And I actually think Sam Altman, like, his yapping about all the different things that his GPT can do, but not taking any accountability, of course, right, for all the bad things it's done. I think we're going to see more lawsuits. I think we're going to see more demand for accountability. And so we're going to see regulations come up.
And that's not even talking, and I'm not an environmental, person.
Oh, gosh, I know.
But, I think I saw him talking about the amount of power that ChatGPT will need in the future.
Right.
Is more than most states generate in a year. And you're like, well, how is that going to happen?
Right.
How is that going to be possible? What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's wild.
And it's always funny to me, too, is the number of people, especially on LinkedIn with the gurus who love it. You're like, how do you reconcile it with these other positions that you have? Because I am sure, especially like, for some reason, I have a lot of connections in the UK. You just know how they are. Like, I know you're all green, you're greenies. How do you reconcile your love of this with that other position? I can't drive my car. You don't want me to have a gas vehicle, but ChatGPT can do whatever they want, so I know it's crazy.
Wild.
And,
Wild. I mean, we have a data center, discussion of a data center getting built right down the street from us. Like, remember I was telling you about that?
Yeah.
And the whole area was protesting, and the city of Naperville, or village of Naperville, it's a city, Naperville, I don't know. Anyway, they were, I was like, I don't know if they're a city or a village. But anyway, Naperville was like, nope, we're letting this go forward. And it's wild at the amount of, people that were engaged in this and were showing like actual studies of what happens when you have a data center of this level built out, in residential areas, because that's where they want to put this thing. Like, it's, it was crazy to just get feedback on that and like learn about it and then go read about it online. I'm like, no, they don't care. They just care about this company coming here and the taxes that they're going to pay to the city. They don't care about what it's actually going to do and how it's going to impact the surrounding areas there, right? Yeah. With like the power, the surge in power that is going to be needed, how it impacts like the water supply, how it impacts anything. They don't care about any of those things. They're like, build the damn thing, build a data center. I'm like, oh,
well, I mean, if it's Naperville, if there's something that impacts Naperville negatively, I'm for it then. Now I'm for it. If something makes life in Naperville harder for people, because it's already, I think, the worst traffic area. One of the worst traffic areas in the Chicagoland area. I hate going anywhere through there just because of traffic, but
fair.
Also those, You know, them and Hinsdale. I don't know who is more smug about where they live, but Napervillians.
But Naperville
If it makes life harder for them, okay, well, now you told me that it was in Naperville. Okay, now I'm for it. Build it. Build it.
Oh, this will be the
Suburbs.
moment that goes viral, Mike.
Local suburbs gripes, everybody who might be listening to us.
Yeah.
I'm in Wheaton.
Yeah.
Unincorporated
same.
Wheaton, technically. Carroll Stream is our mailing, but whatever. Again, if you're listening to us far and wide, I'm sure this one going to have worldwide views, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, so, well, there's our predictions. That's a couple each for us. What do you guys think is going to happen? So we think not a year two again.
Mine were lazy segmentation from the retention standpoint and SMS beating email as an overall revenue driver.
Those two. And then I have algorithm change to recognize rage bait and downplay it. And I think OpenAI is in trouble, that the AI bubble in general is going to burst in 26. So we'll see. We'll see if we're right. 6 of you are going to watch this video. No one's going to hold us. This is the great thing about us being able to make these predictions.
No one's going to hold us accountable.
No one will remember. No one will remember what we said. 6 people will see this. So but that's where we're at. We're almost at the end of the year, everybody. If you think anything, if you're still here, what do you think is going to happen next year?
Yeah.
Marketing wise, really. Business wise, if you're not a marketing person, if you're listening, what do you think is going to be the big thing for 2026? What should businesses focus on and be worried about? Let us know.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to hear from anybody. Anybody.
Yes.
So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Next episode is our number 52. We've made it to a year in our next episode.
Can you believe it?
That's crazy. Be sure to tune in to that one.
Yep.
All of you naysayers out there, mostly my family, saying you'll never make it to a year, but
we did. Almost.
We'll be there. We're going to make it.
Yep.
We are there. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. If you're still here, be sure to tune in next week. We will see you guys next week.